Hello there, and welcome to the Drift Science channel. Tonight, we will be discovering some of the quietest and most peaceful places above our world. We will be exploring the gentle, invisible boundaries where Earth slowly fades away, and the vast, tranquil embrace of space begins. Despite what you might see when you look at the sky during the day, the edge of our world is not a sudden drop or a harsh wall, and the transition into the cosmos is so strange and so beautiful that it seems to defy our everyday understanding of reality. Most people imagine space as a distant, separate place, completely disconnected from the ground we walk on. But as we explore this boundary more deeply, the gentle gradient of our atmosphere begins to reveal its soothing secrets. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is relax. Let your body soften and allow your eyes to grow heavy, and let your thoughts wander upward as we explore our remarkable cosmos together. Let's begin. There are places out there, high above the wandering clouds, where the bright blue of the daytime sky slowly deepens into a rich, velvety violet. Out there, the familiar pull of the earth begins to lose its absolute grip, and the heavy weight of the world simply melts away into weightlessness. There are silent expanses where tiny particles of stardust drift like snow, and where the only light comes from the distant, steady glow of ancient stars. You might imagine that leaving the Earth is a sudden event, but in reality, it is a slow, gradual letting go. The atmosphere does not just stop, it thins out, gently and endlessly, whispering its way into the void. It is a peaceful surrender of air into emptiness. Layer by layer, the world we know dissolves into the infinite calm of the cosmos. Looking up into the night sky has always been a way for us to find a sense of peace. It reminds us that no matter how busy or chaotic our days might be, there is a profound, undisturbed quiet waiting just above us. Discovering the nature of space is really just a way of understanding our own place within this beautiful, quiet universe. So, as we prepare to drift upward into the twilight, I invite you to take a slow, deep breath in and gently let it out. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. Allow the muscles in your face to completely relax. Let the events of the day gently wash away, drifting off like mist on a morning breeze. Your only task right now is to listen, to let your mind float, and to rest. But for now, all you need to do is relax. In our everyday lives, we are used to boundaries. We step out of a house and into a garden. We walk off a beach and into the ocean. We are so accustomed to clear, distinct lines that we naturally assume the edge of space must be the same. You might imagine that there is a specific line in the sky, a place where you can point and say, "This is Earth, and that is space." But the universe does not work with sharp edges. It prefers soft transitions. It prefers a gentle unfolding. The edge of space is not a wall. It is a beautifully slow fade, almost as if the Earth is exhaling a single, eternal breath into the dark. To truly understand how relaxing and how peaceful this transition is, we have to gently drift upward, leaving the surface behind, and watch as the world transforms around us. Imagine, for a moment, that you are floating in a gentle, slow-moving balloon, carrying you upward, weightless and unhurried. As you leave the ground, you are moving through the troposphere, This is the layer of air that hugs the surface of the Earth. It is the world of weather. It is where the rain falls, where the wind blows, and where the soft, white cumulus clouds drift lazily across the sky. Here, the air is thick and comforting. It carries the scent of pine trees, of oceans, of rain hitting warm soil. But as you continue to float higher, slowly drifting up past the highest mountains, the troposphere begins to fade away. The weather stops. The turbulent winds settle down into a perfect, undisturbed calm. You cross silently into the stratosphere. In the stratosphere, the air becomes incredibly still. There are no storms here. There is no rain. It is a sanctuary of quiet. The sky around you, which was once a bright, cheerful baby blue, begins to change. Because there is less air to scatter the sunlight, the blue deepens. It becomes a rich, hypnotic cobalt, and then a deep indigo. Here in the stratosphere lies a delicate, invisible shield known as the ozone layer. It wraps around the Earth like a soft, protective blanket, quietly absorbing the harsh ultraviolet light from the sun, making life possible down below. It asks for nothing in return, simply filtering the light, creating a safe haven for the world beneath it. Floating through this layer, you would feel a profound sense of isolation in the best possible way. The noisy, busy world is miles and miles beneath you. Up here, there is only the gentle curvature of the Earth, stretching out like a vast, beautiful canvas. But you are still not in space. You are simply in the quiet waiting room of the sky. As you drift even higher, moving at a slow, peaceful pace, you enter the mesosphere. This is where things become truly magical, almost dreamlike. The mesosphere is the coldest layer of our atmosphere. It is a place of deep, freezing tranquility, and yet it holds some of the most beautiful phenomena in the natural world. In some places, near the poles of the Earth, the mesosphere gives birth to noctilucent clouds. These are the highest clouds in the sky, existing on the very edge of nothingness. They are made of tiny, microscopic crystals of ice that cling to the dust left behind by ancient meteors. Because these clouds are so high up, they continue to catch the light of the sun long after the sun has set down on the surface. If you were to look up at them from the ground during the twilight hours, they would look like glowing, electric blue veins woven into the darkening sky. They drift silently, glowing with a soft, ethereal light, a reminder of the quiet beauty that exists far beyond our reach. The mesosphere is also where shooting stars make their final, silent descent. Out in the vacuum of space, tiny fragments of rock and dust wander for billions of years in complete darkness and silence. But when they finally encounter the gentle, welcoming friction of the mesosphere, they heat up and glow. For one brief, beautiful moment, they draw a streak of light across the sky before gently dissolving into harmless dust, forever becoming a part of the Earth's atmosphere. It is a quiet, poetic end to a journey that lasted for eons. And still, you drift higher. The air is so incredibly thin now that it is almost a memory. The sky has faded from deep indigo into a velvety, endless black. You are now approaching what scientists call the Kármán line. The Kármán line is located about 100 kilometers, or 62 miles, above the surface of the Earth. It is the widely accepted boundary of space. But even this line is just a concept, an idea created by human minds to help us make sense of the vastness. It is named after Theodor von Kármán, a brilliant engineer and physicist who wanted to find the exact altitude where the atmosphere becomes too thin to support winged flight. He realized that as you go higher, the air becomes thinner, and because the air is thinner, an airplane has to fly faster and faster to generate enough lift to stay in the sky. Kármán calculated that at around 100 kilometers high, the air is so sparse that an airplane would have to fly at orbital velocity, the speed needed to orbit the Earth, just to keep from falling. In other words, the Kármán line is the exact, beautiful point where aerodynamic flight effortlessly transforms into orbital mechanics. It is the point where swimming through the air becomes floating in the void. Imagine crossing that invisible threshold. There is no bump, there is no sound, there is no sudden change in the light. It is just a gentle transition from being held by the air to being held by gravity alone. You are no longer flying, you are orbiting. You are falling so fast around the Earth that you perfectly match its curvature, creating a state of perpetual, weightless freefall. In this space, at this gentle edge, the concept of weight simply vanishes. If you were to let go of an apple up here, it wouldn't drop to the floor. It would simply float beside you, suspended in mid-air, a silent companion in the dark. Your own body, which has carried the heavy burden of gravity for your entire life, would suddenly feel completely unburdened. The pressure on your spine would softly release. The weight in your shoulders would vanish. You would be lighter than a feather, drifting effortlessly in a permanent state of calm. It is possible that this is one of the most relaxing physical sensations a human being could ever experience. Total, complete weightlessness. A true, physical letting go. And then there is the silence. Down on Earth, we are constantly surrounded by noise. The hum of traffic, the rustle of leaves, the sound of voices, the ticking of a clock. Even in the quietest rooms, there is the subtle sound of air moving. Sound is simply a vibration traveling through the molecules in the air. But as you cross the Kármán line and drift into the edge of space, the molecules are so far apart that sound can no longer travel. The medium of noise has disappeared. What remains is an absolute, profound, and pure silence. It is a quiet so deep that you can almost feel it in your bones. Out there, even the most violent events, the collision of asteroids, the fiery dance of solar flares, happen in complete and total silence. It is a universe of silent films, where grand, cosmic ballets unfold without a single whisper of sound. In this absolute quiet, you are free from all distractions. You can look down at the Earth, a massive, glowing sphere of blue and white, swirling with clouds, alive and beautiful, yet completely silent from your vantage point. The world below continues its busy rotation, but you are separate from it now. You are resting on the gentle edge of everything, cradled by the dark, velvety expanse of space. It is a place of infinite peace, a place where the boundaries of the world softly blur, gently unfolding into the endless night. Take a moment to imagine yourself there, floating just above the atmosphere, weightless, silent, perfectly at peace. There is nowhere else you need to be. There is nothing else you need to do. Just drift. As we continue our gentle journey outward, leaving the invisible, quiet threshold of the Kármán line beneath us, we find ourselves drifting even higher. We are moving into a vast, tranquil expanse known as the thermosphere. You might imagine that as you move further away from the Earth, the darkness simply becomes absolute, and the environment becomes harsh and empty. But out there, in the deeply hushed regions of the upper atmosphere, the universe holds on to a beautiful, gentle warmth. The thermosphere is a place of profound and mysterious contradictions. It is a realm where the rules of the world we know down below begin to slowly, softly unravel, replaced by the calm and patient laws of deep space. In this quiet layer, the air is so incredibly rare, so impossibly thin, that a single atom might travel for miles and miles before it ever bumps into another. It is a lonely, peaceful existence for these tiny particles of air, drifting endlessly through the dark, completely undisturbed. Here, in this expansive calm, we encounter a fascinating paradox. The word thermosphere comes from the Greek word for heat, and it is true that in this layer, the temperature can reach thousands of degrees. It is possible that this sounds intense, perhaps even overwhelming, but the reality of this heat is entirely different from the warmth we feel from a gentle summer sun or a crackling fireplace on Earth. Down on the surface, when we feel heat, we are actually feeling the rapid, energetic bouncing of billions of air molecules against our skin. The denser the air, the more warmth it can carry and share. But up here, gently suspended in the thermosphere, the atoms are spread so far apart that they can no longer share their energy. They are like isolated, glowing embers scattered across a vast, endless ocean of emptiness. Because of this incredible spaciousness, if you were to somehow step outside and float in the thermosphere without a spacesuit, you wouldn't feel hot at all. In fact, you would feel deeply, profoundly cold. It is a place of phantom heat, a warmth that exists only in theory, while the physical experience is one of absolute, freezing tranquility. It is almost as if the universe is keeping the idea of warmth alive, gently holding it in the dark, without ever letting it touch you. It is a beautiful, quiet contradiction, a space where high energy translates into perfect, silent stillness. As you drift peacefully through this ethereal layer, you are sharing the space with something quite remarkable. This is the very region where the International Space Station makes its endless, quiet laps around the planet. Imagine for a moment being aboard that softly humming station. You are traveling at an astonishing speed of 5 miles per second. Down on Earth, traveling at such speeds would be chaotic, noisy, and violently shaking. But out here, gracefully riding the curvature of the Earth, in the vacuum of the thermosphere, there is no wind resistance. There is no friction. There is no sound of air rushing past the windows. Instead, this incredible speed feels like perfect, undisturbed stillness. It is a smooth, glass-like glide through the dark. You are moving faster than a bullet, yet you feel as though you are resting in a softly swaying hammock on a quiet Sunday afternoon. The feeling of motion simply fades away, leaving only a sense of hovering, gently suspended above a beautifully slow-turning globe. Because you are moving so swiftly around the Earth, the very concept of time begins to change. Down on the surface, we are accustomed to the long, slow arc of a 24-hour day. We watch the sun take 12 hours to cross the sky, followed by a long, quiet night. But in the thermosphere, orbiting at the edge of space, a full day and night cycle happens in just 90 minutes. It is a completely different rhythm of living, a hypnotic, looping waltz of light and shadow. Every 45 minutes, you are treated to a sunrise, and every 45 minutes, you witness a sunset. Imagine looking out of a small, thick window, peering down at the edge of the Earth. A sunset from space, is not just a brief moment of color, it is a deeply moving, slow-motion ribbon of light. As the sun gently dips behind the curve of the planet, the thin atmosphere of the Earth acts like a massive, curved prism. It catches the fading light and bends it, separating the white light of the sun into brilliant, distinct bands of color. For a fleeting, quiet moment, you see a sharp line of deep red stacking into a glowing orange, fading into a soft, pale yellow, which melts into a vibrant blue, before finally dissolving into the absolute black of space. It happens in complete silence. There are no crickets softly chirping as the darkness falls. There is no cooling breeze. There is just this majestic, silent light show, playing out over and over again. 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets every single Earth day. It is a constant, gentle reminder of the turning of the spheres, a slow, visual lullaby wrapping around the planet. And when the station slips into the shadow of the Earth, when the sun is completely hidden behind the bulk of the planet, you might expect the view to be entirely dark. You might expect the view to be entirely dark. You might expect the view to be entirely dark. You might expect the view to be entirely dark. You might expect the view to be entirely dark. You might expect the view to be entirely dark. You might expect the view to be entirely dark. When, in some places, when you look down at the nighttime side of the planet from the thermosphere, the Earth is not completely dark. Instead, it is crowned with a very faint, incredibly delicate halo of light. This beautifully soft phenomenon is known as airglow. Airglow is almost like the Earth's own personal nightlight. During the 45 minutes of daylight, the scattered atoms of oxygen and nitrogen in the high atmosphere absorb the strong, energetic rays of the sun. They soak up the light like tiny, invisible sponges. But when the night comes and the sun drops away, these atoms slowly begin to relax. And as they settle down, returning to their natural, restful state, they gently release the energy they collected during the day. They exhale this energy in the form of pure, soft light. Slowly drifting above the night side of the Earth, you would look down and see a thin, luminescent band hovering just above the curve of the planet. It is usually a soft, ghostly green, born from the relaxing oxygen atoms, though sometimes it carries whispers of red or pale yellow. It is a constant, permanent aurora, a glowing blanket of light that wraps entirely around the globe, invisible from the ground, but wonderfully apparent from the edge of space. It is almost as if the Earth itself is breathing, inhaling the bright, vibrant energy of the sun during the day, and softly, quietly exhaling a gentle, glowing luminescence through the dark of the night. Watching the airglow from above is profoundly hypnotic. It doesn't flicker aggressively, and it doesn't move with sudden, jarring shifts. It just hovers, perfectly steady, gently radiating a calm, green hue into the blackness of space. It reminds us that even in the darkest, coldest places, there is a lingering warmth, a lingering light, slowly unfolding its quiet beauty for anyone lucky enough to see it. As we drift here in the thermosphere, suspended between the bright, busy world below and the infinite, ancient cosmos above, it is easy to feel a sense of deep, comforting insignificance. Our worries, our schedules, our loud and hurried days on the surface, they simply cannot reach this high. They dissolve in the thin air, unable to cross the quiet threshold of space. Out here, the only thing that matters is the slow, steady turning of the planet, the soft, predictable arrival of the sun, and the comforting, glowing embrace of the dark. Everything moves at its own perfect pace. There is no rushing, there is no urgency, just the endless, patient sweep of gravity and light. So, as we prepare to leave this glowing layer behind and journey even further out, I want you to take a moment to mirror the calmness of this space. Imagine that you too can release the pent-up energy of your day, just like the oxygen atoms creating the soft air glow. With every slow breath out, imagine letting go of the tension in your mind. Let it drift away, glowing faintly as it leaves you, dissolving peacefully into the dark. Your breathing is slow, steady, and deep. Your mind is a quiet, empty space, calm, relaxed, and perfectly still. You are floating, weightless, undisturbed. The universe is holding you, softly and safely, in its vast, tranquil hands. Just rest. Let the silence wrap around you. Let the gentle rotation of the world soothe you. Everything is exactly as it should be. Everything is at peace. As we softly leave the glowing embrace of the thermosphere, drifting ever upward, further and further away from the bustling world below, we enter the final, most delicate frontier of our planet. This is the exosphere, the very outermost layer of our home. In some places, we tend to think of boundaries as hard, definitive things. A door closes, a wall is built, a line is drawn in the sand. But nature rarely works in such abrupt ways. The Earth does not trap its atmosphere in a rigid, glass-like shell. Instead, it holds onto the air with a gentle, loving, but open embrace. And here, in the exosphere, that embrace becomes so soft and so relaxed that the Earth simply begins to let go. You might imagine the exosphere like a dandelion, sitting quietly in a vast, open meadow. When a soft breeze passes by, the delicate white seeds do not all detach at once. Instead, they gently release, one by one, catching the air, drifting slowly upward, and floating away into the vast unknown. This is exactly what the Earth is doing at this very moment, high above our heads. It is quietly, beautifully exhaling. In this region, starting about 370 miles above the surface, the air is not just thin, it is almost non-existent. Down on the ground, the air we breathe is a dense, lively crowd of molecules, constantly bumping into one another, sharing energy, carrying sound, and moving with busy purpose. But up here, in the deeply hushed expanse of the exosphere, the atoms are solitary wanderers. They are so incredibly far apart that an atom of oxygen or hydrogen could travel for hundreds of miles, arcing through the silent black sky, and never touch another particle. There are no collisions here, there is no friction, there is absolutely no sound. It is a vast, peaceful ocean of empty space, dusted with the occasional, softly drifting atom. Because they are so free from one another, these tiny particles move in what scientists call ballistic trajectories. Rather than blowing in a wind or swirling in a cloud, each individual atom follows its own slow, majestic arc. Lifted by the faint warmth of the distant sun, an atom will rise upward, curving gracefully through the dark vacuum, before the gentle, patient pull of Earth's gravity softly calls it back down. It is a slow-motion, microscopic ballet, happening by the trillions, in complete and utter silence. But sometimes, an atom is given just enough energy, just enough of a gentle push from the sun that it reaches the top of its arc and simply keeps going. It slips past the soft grip of gravity, slipping the bonds of Earth entirely, and drifts out into the deep cosmic ocean. Every single day, the Earth gently breathes away a tiny portion of its atmosphere into the solar wind, losing a few hundred tons of gas to the infinite dark. It sounds like a loss, but it is truly a beautiful, natural exchange. It is the Earth whispering its presence to the rest of the solar system, a slow, eternal sigh joining the great, silent currents of space. As we float here, in this quiet, fading edge, the darkness around us feels absolute. To the human eye, the exosphere looks like pure, empty space. The deep black velvet of the cosmos stretches out in every direction, punctuated only by the steady, unblinking light of ancient, distant stars. But if we could somehow adjust our vision, if we could see the sky not in the visible light our eyes are used to, but in the soft, invisible spectrum of ultraviolet light, the darkness would instantly vanish. We would see that we are not floating in an empty void at all. We would see the geocorona. The geocorona is one of the most beautiful hidden secrets of our planet. It is a massive, glowing cloud of hydrogen atoms that surrounds the Earth, extending far, far out into space. Because hydrogen is the lightest element in the universe, it floats to the very top of our atmosphere, accumulating in this vast, spherical halo. When the energetic rays of the sun strike these hydrogen atoms, they absorb the light, and then, slowly and quietly, they glow. They emit a soft, ultraviolet luminescence. If we could see it, the Earth would look like a giant, ethereal pearl, resting inside a magnificent, glowing bubble of faint blue light. This glowing cloud is so vast and so faint that for a long time, humanity didn't even know it was there. We couldn't see it from the ground, because the thicker layers of air below us absorb ultraviolet light. It wasn't until we finally left the Earth, until the Apollo 16 astronauts traveled all the way to the moon and looked back at our home with a special ultraviolet camera, that we finally saw the geocorona in all its silent glory. They took a photograph, and there it was. Our beautiful blue and white planet, nestled safely inside a massive, luminous cloud, glowing gently in the dark. But the most fascinating part of the geocorona, the most wondrous realization of this slowly fading edge, is just how far it reaches. For decades, scientists believed that the Earth's atmosphere, this quiet exosphere, gently tapered off and ended just a few thousand miles above the surface. But recently, as we have looked closer and listened more carefully to the silent whispers of space, we have discovered something truly magnificent. The geocorona does not end near the Earth. It stretches out. It reaches across the dark, silent gap of space, extending outward for hundreds of thousands of miles. It reaches all the way to the moon, and then it keeps going. It wraps around the moon, extending even further into the dark. This means that when you look up at the moon in the night sky, that glowing, silver orb floating so peacefully in the dark, it is not actually in empty space. The moon is orbiting inside the Earth's atmosphere. It is softly flying through the very outermost edges of our world's long, slow exhale. Imagine that for a moment. We often look at the moon and feel a sense of distance. We see it as a separate world, a cold, lonely rock floating far away in the void. But in reality, the Earth and the Moon are touching. Our home planet is constantly reaching out across the darkness, gently bathing the Moon in a soft, invisible, glowing cloud of hydrogen. We are sharing the same breath. We are connected, bound not just by the invisible, quiet pull of gravity, but by a delicate, luminous bridge of the lightest element in the universe. It's completely possible that understanding this can change the way you look at the night sky. The space between us and the Moon is not an empty, terrifying gulf. It is a gentle continuum. It is a quiet, peaceful extension of the very air we breathe, slowly unfolding across 250,000 miles. Out here, gently drifting in the exosphere, surrounded by this invisible, glowing halo, there is a profound sense of unity. The boundaries between where Earth ends and where space begins are completely washed away. There is no separation. There is only a slow, beautiful blending of one thing into another. Just like the transition between wakefulness and sleep, there is no exact moment when you fall asleep. There is no hard line where your conscious mind stops and your dreams begin. It is a gradual, softly fading edge. Your thoughts become a little lighter. They drift further apart, just like the hydrogen atoms in the geocorona, arcing gracefully in their own quiet space. Your breathing slows, matching the patient, eternal rhythm of the turning planet. As you lie there, safe and warm, you are surrounded by your own quiet atmosphere. The room around you is still. The busy, noisy world of your day is hundreds of miles below you, far away, completely unable to reach you in this peaceful space. You can just let go. You don't need to hold on to your thoughts anymore. You can let them drift, floating up and away, released into the dark, silent calm. Let your chest rise with a slow, effortless breath in. And as you exhale, imagine your breath joining that vast, peaceful expanse, releasing tension, releasing worry, releasing the weight of gravity. Your body feels light, so wonderfully, completely light, almost as if you are floating, gently suspended in a quiet, ultraviolet glow. There is nothing pulling you down. There is nothing holding you back. You are simply resting, drifting on the soft, fading edge of the world. Allow the silence of this space to wrap around you like a heavy, comforting blanket. Notice how quiet the universe truly is. Behind the noise of our lives, there is always this majestic, eternal stillness, waiting for us, welcoming us. Just drift, slowly, peacefully, into the dark. As we continue to float here, on the very edge of the exosphere, surrounded by the faint, invisible glow of drifting hydrogen, we find ourselves in a space that seems completely empty. To the quiet, restful mind, this high frontier feels like a perfect vacuum, a place of total stillness, where nothing happens and nothing moves. But the universe is a place of deep and marvelous subtleties. Even in the spaces that appear the most vacant, there are vast, invisible forces gently unfolding, moving with a calm and majestic purpose. There is another presence here, something you cannot see with your eyes and cannot hear with your ears, yet it holds our entire planet in a soft, eternal embrace. It is the Earth's magnetosphere. To understand the serene beauty of this invisible shield, we must first look away from the Earth and turn our gaze across the dark, quiet ocean of the solar system toward the Sun. We often think of the Sun as a bright, static orb of light, but the Sun is incredibly dynamic, constantly in motion, and just like the Earth, it is softly exhaling, The Sun constantly releases a gentle, steady stream of charged particles, a mixture of electrons and protons that drift outward into the void. This continuous outward breath is known as the solar wind. You might imagine a wind as something you can feel against your face, something that rustles the leaves on the trees, or softly whistles through a cracked window on a cool autumn evening. But the solar wind is a completely different kind of breeze. It is a whisper of plasma, traveling through the absolute silence of space at hundreds of miles per second. It flows patiently, outward through the dark, carrying the warmth and energy of our nearest star across millions of miles of empty, tranquil space. As this incredibly fast, silent cosmic breeze approaches our planet, you might expect a collision. You might expect these particles to crash into the Earth's delicate atmosphere, stripping away the thin, floating layers we have just explored. But out here, nature provides a beautiful, protective cushion. Deep within the very center of the Earth, thousands of miles beneath the surface, there is a massive ocean of swirling, liquid iron. This slow, turning motion in the core of our planet generates a vast, invisible magnetic field. This field quietly rises up through the rock, up through the oceans, up through the dense troposphere and the quiet stratosphere, reaching far, far out into the darkness of space. It expands outward for tens of thousands of miles, creating a gigantic, soft, invisible bubble around our home. This is the magnetosphere, and it behaves exactly like a smooth, rounded stone resting in the middle of a gently flowing river. When the rushing water of a stream meets a smooth stone, it does not crash or break, it gracefully parts. The water seamlessly glides around the edges of the stone, reforming softly on the other side, continuing its journey downstream without ever disturbing the quiet sanctuary just behind the rock. This is exactly what happens when the solar wind meets the Earth's magnetosphere. As the cosmic breeze approaches, it encounters the outermost boundary of our magnetic shield, a region known as the bow shock. But this is a shock without a sound. It is a completely silent parting of the waves. The invisible, charged particles from the Sun are gently caught, seamlessly guided along the curved, magnetic lines of our planet, and softly swept around us. They glide smoothly over the top of the Earth and drift gently under the bottom, slipping past us like a warm breeze flowing over the contours of a sleeping face. Behind the Earth, the magnetic field is stretched out by the wind, trailing softly away into the dark like a long, delicate teardrop or the magnificent tail of a comet. It is an endless, invisible dance between the breath of the Sun and the shielding embrace of the Earth, a dance that has been unfolding quietly and perfectly for billions of years. It is deeply comforting to know that this vast, protective bubble is always there. It asks for nothing, and it makes no sound. It simply exists, quietly sheltering our world, catching the harsh energy of the cosmos, and gently turning it aside. It allows the atmosphere to remain intact. It allows the oceans to remain wet. It allows the quiet, green world below to flourish in peace, entirely unaware of the silent, magnetic guardian resting so gracefully in the dark space above. But sometimes, the universe decides to make the invisible wonderfully visible. While most of the solar wind gently parts and flows around the Earth, a small portion of these traveling particles are softly captured by the magnetic field. They are caught in the flow of the magnetic lines, which gently funnel them downward, guiding them towards the north and south poles of the planet. As these particles drift down toward the polar regions, they finally encounter the very top edge of our atmosphere. They meet the solitary atoms of oxygen and nitrogen resting in the quiet thermosphere we visited earlier. And when they meet, something truly magical happens. They don't collide with force, they interact with a soft transfer of energy. The particles from the sun gently tap the atoms of the atmosphere, passing their energy along. And just like the air glow we saw hovering above the night sky, these oxygen and nitrogen atoms slowly relax, gently releasing that energy in the form of pure, brilliant light. This is the aurora, the northern lights, and the southern lights. From the surface of the Earth, the aurora looks like a beautiful, mysterious painting in the sky. But from out here, floating on the edge of space, looking down at the poles, the aurora reveals its true, majestic form. It is a massive, glowing crown of light, resting gracefully on the top and bottom of the world. Imagine looking down and seeing a vast, shimmering ribbon of luminescent green softly unfolding across the dark, curved canvas of the planet. The ribbons slowly undulate, rippling in extreme slow motion, almost as if an invisible hand is gently dragging a veil of light through the upper atmosphere. The color is predominantly a soft, minty green, born from the oxygen atoms resting high above the ground. But occasionally, if you watch closely, you might see a fringe of deep, quiet red, or a soft blush of violet and blue, whispering from the nitrogen atoms further below. The light stretches for thousands of miles, a slow, majestic curtain glowing in the absolute dark. It folds over itself, intertwining in luminous, glowing spirals, pulsing with a slow, rhythmic breath. And the most beautiful, the most deeply relaxing aspect of this grand display is the absolute silence. If you were to watch a massive light show on Earth, you would expect noise. You would expect the crackle of electricity, the boom of fireworks, the roaring hum of massive generators. But the aurora, for all its immense planetary scale, for all its vibrant, sweeping colors, makes absolutely no sound at all in the vacuum of space. It is a visual symphony, played in a theater of total quiet. It is a grand, cosmic phenomenon that politely refuses to disturb the peace of the night. You can simply float there, weightless and unburdened, watching these massive curtains of soft light fold and sway, perfectly synchronized with the quiet, magnetic heartbeat of the Earth. It is possible that witnessing this silent, gentle dance of light is one of the most soothing experiences the universe has to offer. It reminds us that even the most powerful, cosmic forces can interact with a profound sense of grace. That immense energy does not always equal chaos. Sometimes, energy simply translates into a slow, glowing ribbon of green light, swaying patiently in the dark. This invisible shield, this quiet, magnetic embrace, is a beautiful metaphor for the kind of peace we seek in our own lives. Throughout our days, we all encounter our own versions of the solar wind. We face a constant stream of information, of tasks, of hurried voices, and busy schedules. It can feel like a rush of energy, constantly pushing against us. But just like the Earth, you too have a quiet, invisible sanctuary. You have the ability to create a soft, magnetic boundary around your mind. You can let the noise of the day simply part and flow around you. You don't have to catch every passing thought. You don't have to absorb every stressful vibration. You can simply let them glide past, slipping gently into the dark, leaving you perfectly undisturbed in your own quiet center. So, as you rest here, wrapped in the soft, glowing light of the silent aurora, allow yourself to build that peaceful shield. Take a long, slow breath in, and picture a warm, comfortable light gently wrapping around you. As you exhale, let any lingering thoughts, any worries from the day, just slide away. Let them gently deflect off your quiet, invisible barrier. They cannot reach you here. They simply flow smoothly around you and disappear into the night. Your mind is a quiet, glowing space. Your breathing is slow, matching the gentle, undulating rhythm of the northern lights. Rise and fall. Inhale and exhale. Notice how incredibly relaxed your limbs feel. Notice how soft your facial muscles have become. Your jaw is loose. Your eyes are closed, but in your mind's eye, you can still see the slow, green ribbons of light swirling peacefully in the absolute silence. There is nothing you need to figure out. There is nothing you need to accomplish. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. Completely safe, completely sheltered, gently resting under the protective, magnetic embrace of the world. Let the silence deepen. Let the colors slowly fade into a soft, comforting black. Just rest. Drift effortlessly on the quiet currents of space. Allow yourself to be perfectly, beautifully still. As we drift deeper into the protective embrace of the magnetosphere, moving further away from the thin, fleeting edge of our atmosphere, we enter a region that is both profoundly beautiful and deeply mysterious. We are entering the domain of the Van Allen radiation belts. You might imagine these belts as massive, invisible hoops circling the Earth, like the rings around a planet. But instead of dust or ice, they are composed of trapped energy. Imagine two gentle, invisible cradles, one nested inside the other, suspended in the vast, velvet darkness of space, holding onto billions of energetic particles. These particles, electrons and protons, have been caught by the Earth's magnetic field. They are held there, swirling and dancing in endless, circular loops, thousands of miles above our heads. It is a place of perpetual motion, yet it feels entirely still, a silent, swirling carousel of light and energy that has been turning patiently for as long as our planet has had a magnetic heart. The inner belt sits closest to the Earth, a compact, stable ring filled with high-energy protons. It is a place of immense, quiet intensity. But because the Earth's magnetic field is so well balanced and steady, these particles don't just fly away. They are cradled, held firm in a gravitational and magnetic embrace. They drift in their orbits, following the invisible lines of force, mirroring the curves of the Earth itself. It is a slow, rhythmic migration of energy that never stops, yet never makes a sound. Beyond the inner belt lies the outer belt, a larger, more fluid and ethereal structure. This belt is made of electrons, and it is far more sensitive, far more responsive to the gentle, rhythmic pulses of the sun. When the sun sends a soft breeze of solar wind toward the Earth, this outer belt breathes. It expands, it contracts, it shifts, and it settles, like a slow-moving tide flowing in and out on a shore made of nothing but starlight. Watching the Van Allen belts from the perspective of pure, calm thought is like watching an infinite, silent hourglass. The energy flows from one side of the planet to the other, looping over the poles, sinking into the dark, and rising back up into the light. It is a cycle of perfect efficiency. No energy is wasted. It is all contained, all kept, all nurtured by the magnetic field of our home. The existence of these belts is a testament to the Earth's quiet, persistent care for the environment around it. We are not just a planet floating alone in space. We are a planet that actively interacts with the cosmic ocean, filtering it, keeping the dangerous parts away, and storing the energy in these beautiful, unseen structures. It is a protective, nurturing layer, a cradle of energy that keeps our home stable and balanced. If you were to float in the space between these belts, in the quiet, empty region known as the slot, you would feel a profound sense of solitude. The silence here is absolute. It is a place where the hectic pace of the surface world is completely forgotten. There is no weather here. There is no gravity pulling at your bones. There is no time to keep, other than the slow, repeating rhythm of your own breathing. In this slot, the magnetic environment is at its most serene. It is a place of utter calm, where the only movement is the slow, majestic rotation of the earth beneath you, visible as a massive, glowing blue marble hanging in the blackness. The stars here are bright, steady, and unblinking. They do not twinkle, for there is no atmosphere to disturb their light. They look like diamonds pinned onto black velvet, constant and reassuring, watching over your peaceful, drifting state. The beauty of the Van Allen belts is that they exist, for the most part, completely invisible to us. They are a secret garden of energy, hidden in plain sight, just above the clouds. We can only map them by sending delicate, quiet probes into the void, which hum with the data of the particles they encounter. But even without being able to see them, we know they are there. We can feel their presence in the way the Earth's environment stays stable, in the way the aurora softly dances at the poles, and in the way our planet remains a safe, welcoming home for life. As you reflect on these hidden belts, imagine your own mind. We often carry a lot of energy, a lot of thoughts, a lot of busy movement. But just like the Earth, we can learn to cradle that energy in a way that is quiet, stable, and protective. We don't have to let every thought fly away or create chaos. We can hold our focus in a gentle, rhythmic loop, letting the energy of our day move through us without disturbing our inner peace. Let your breathing become a mirror of those slow, swirling loops. Inhale and imagine drawing in a sense of calm, steady energy. Exhale and let that energy settle into your center, held securely by your own quiet, inner strength. There is no rush to move. There is no requirement to perform. You are simply existing in this moment, in this comfortable, silent space. The outer world, with all its demands and expectations, is far, far away. Down there, things change quickly. But up here, in the cradle of the Van Allen belts, time moves slowly, and peace is the only constant. You are drifting through a region of invisible, glowing power, but it feels like you are resting on a cloud. Your body is heavy with relaxation, yet your spirit feels light, weightless, and free. You are a passenger on a beautifully balanced planet, surrounded by a universe that is both vast and profoundly, deeply kind. Let the image of these invisible rings soothe you. They are constant, they are enduring, they are perfectly, naturally aligned. And you are too. Just rest. Let the silence of the belts carry you deeper into sleep. The further you drift, the quieter it becomes. The more you release, the deeper your sense of peace. As we drift further, leaving behind the cradles of the Van Allen belts, we move into a space where the atmosphere, our soft, protective blanket, is truly just a memory. We are now in the deep, quiet expanse of near-Earth space. It is a region that feels, to our human senses, like nothingness. But this nothingness is a beautiful, persistent myth. The vacuum of space is not truly empty. It is a bustling, patient sea of invisible travelers. These travelers are known as cosmic rays. You might imagine cosmic rays as intense, harsh beams of light, but the reality is much more gentle and ancient. They are not light at all. They are tiny, energetic particles, protons and atomic nuclei, that have been wandering the cosmos for eons. They come from the most dramatic yet beautiful events in the universe: the gentle, slow-motion collapse of ancient stars, the quiet whispers of distant, supermassive black holes, and the radiant, unfolding life of galaxies far beyond our own. These particles have been traveling through the dark for millions, perhaps billions of years. They have seen empires rise and fall in the universe, drifting through the stillness, unburdened by time or gravity. They are, in a very real sense, the wandering storytellers of the cosmos. Every single one of them carries a message, a small, energetic memory of a star that lived and died long ago. When these ancient travelers finally reach our corner of the solar system, they are greeted by the vast, invisible wall of our planet's magnetosphere. This is the moment where the story of the cosmic ray meets the story of our home. Just as the solar wind parts around the Earth, these high-energy cosmic rays are met by our magnetic shield. They don't crash into us. They are gently nudged. They are steered. The magnetic lines of our planet catch them, coaxing them into a slow, spiral path, directing them away from the vulnerable living biosphere below. It is a quiet, cosmic dance. The Earth, in its profound, silent wisdom, gently redirects these energetic ghosts. It acts as a prism, softening their impact, ensuring that they do not harm the fragile, green world beneath. And in doing so, the Earth makes sure that we are safe to continue our slow, peaceful existence. This interaction is happening every single second of every single day. Trillions of these ancient messengers arrive at our doorstep, and trillions of them are softly turned aside. It is a constant, invisible, and utterly silent guardianship. If you were to float in the space where these particles meet our magnetic field, you wouldn't feel the collision. You would only feel the profound peace of being protected. You would understand, in a way that words cannot fully capture, that you are part of a system, a large, interconnected, and deeply caring system. The Earth is looking out for you. The universe is, in its own way, filtering the noise so that you can rest. Think about the journey these particles have taken. They have crossed vast, empty gulfs of time and space, moving through the cold, dark, and silent reaches of the galaxy, only to find our quiet little world. They are the dust of creation, the remnants of what once was, and they are constantly washing over us like a slow, steady rain. But because of our magnetosphere, this rain is a mist. It is harmless. It is just a gentle, energetic touch upon the edges of our home. This realization that we are constantly bathed in the remnants of the universe, yet perfectly shielded from their intensity, is deeply comforting. It suggests that even in a universe that can be wild, chaotic, and energetic, there is a place of profound stillness reserved for us. We are in the eye of the storm. We are in the quiet harbor. And just as we are protected by this magnetic shell, you can find that same protection within your own mind. You too have a magnetic field. You have the ability to create a boundary, a space where you hold on to what is nurturing and let go of what is overwhelming. Just as the earth guides the energetic particles away, you can guide the busy, energetic thoughts of your day away from your center. You do not need to process every worry. You do not need to solve every problem before you close your eyes. You can simply let them drift, like particles caught in a magnetic sweep, guiding them around your mind, letting them dissipate into the quiet. Your mind is a vast, calm space. It is a sanctuary. Feel the weight of your body sinking into the mattress, becoming one with the stability of the earth beneath you. The ground is solid. The earth is turning, steady and true. You are safe. You are held. As you breathe, imagine the air around you is that vast protective shell. With every inhale, you are drawing in the stillness of space. With every exhale, you are releasing the last of the day's energy, watching it drift away, far, far away from you, disappearing into the beautiful, dark, and silent void. There is nothing to fear. There is only the quiet, the ancient, drifting quiet of the stars, and the soft, grounding, patient peace of the earth. You are a part of this cycle. You are a part of this dance. And for now, all you need to do is let the rhythm of the universe cradle you. Everything is slowing down. Your heart rate is gentle. Your mind is drifting into the deep, dark indigo of the upper atmosphere. The stars are bright and steady. The earth is quiet. You are drifting, simply drifting. As we continue to float in this vast, quiet ocean of near-Earth space, let us turn our gaze downward toward the slow-turning sphere of the Earth. From this vantage point, high above the atmosphere, we can witness a phenomenon that is happening constantly, yet is rarely fully appreciated for its gentle, hypnotic beauty. We are looking for the shadow line, the great, sweeping boundary that separates the sun-drenched day from the velvet embrace of the night. Astronomers often call this the Terminator, but that name feels too sharp, too clinical for such a soft, dreamlike transition. Let us call it the global twilight. Imagine the Earth as a massive, glowing marble, bathed in the warmth of the sun on one side, while the other side is draped in the deep, peaceful indigo of the night. Because the Earth is constantly rotating, that boundary line is always moving. It is a slow, rhythmic, unstoppable wave of shadow that rolls across the surface of the planet. It moves at the speed of the Earth's turning, about 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. Yet, when you look at it from the vast distance of space, it doesn't look fast at all. It looks like the most graceful, patient unfolding imaginable. It is a twilight that never ends. Somewhere, right now, the sun is dipping below the horizon. Somewhere, at this very moment, the sky is turning from a brilliant, piercing blue into a soft, bruised purple, and then into the deepest, most restful black. When you are on the surface, you see the sunset as a brief, fleeting moment. You watch the sun descend, the colors change, and then the dark takes over. But from up here, floating in the stillness, you can see that the sunset is actually a long, glowing arc that stretches thousands of miles from the North Pole to the south. It is a massive, curved ribbon of light, a transition zone where the day gently yields to the night. It is beautiful to realize that this happens every single day, without fail, without haste. The earth does not rush into the night. It does not drop into darkness. It eases into it. It is a slow, methodical surrender of light, a gentle fading that gives the world time to prepare for the rest that the night brings. This global twilight is a reminder that nature values the transition. The universe does not just turn the lights off, it dims them, it filters the colors, it stretches the shadows. It gives the creatures of the earth, the birds, the trees, the oceans, a long, slow signal that it is time to quiet down, time to reflect, time to rest. If you were to watch this line from space, you would see the lights of the great cities beginning to twinkle as the shadow washes over them. It starts as a faint, almost invisible glimmer, like tiny, warm embers igniting in the dark. As the shadow deepens, these lights become brighter, more defined, a vast, scattered map of human activity, glowing softly against the dark expanse of the sleeping planet. It is a comforting thought, the lights of humanity, burning softly in the dark, held within the cradle of the earth, as the rest of the planet prepares for sleep. We are all together in this, wrapped in the same blanket of night, under the same vast, silent, and watchful stars. This global twilight is the physical manifestation of the rhythm of life. It is the pulse of our home. It reminds us that there is a time for activity and a time for stillness, a time to be awake and a time to let go. And just as the earth rotates into the shadow to find its peace, so too can you. You are currently drifting into your own personal twilight. Your eyelids are growing heavy, pulled by the same gentle, invisible gravity that turns the world. Your thoughts, once bright and active with the busyness of the day, are now beginning to dim, becoming softer, more diffused, like the colors in that long, glowing arc of the global twilight. Let the image of that slow-moving shadow fill your mind. Imagine the darkness moving across the land, bringing a cool, quiet stillness to everything it touches. The wind settles, the world slows, the noise fades. There is only the gentle, rhythmic turning of the planet and the soft, steady hum of the universe. You do not need to fight the dark. You do not need to hold on to the light of your thoughts. You can simply let them drift, letting the shadow wash over your mind, leaving you in a state of deep, undisturbed rest. Everything is slowing down. Your breathing is becoming deep and rhythmic, perfectly in sync with the turning of the earth. Inhale the peace of the twilight. Exhale the worries of the day. Let the darkness be a comfort, a blanket, a sanctuary. There is nothing to see, nothing to do, nothing to be, other than a quiet, resting presence in the middle of this vast, wonderful, and peaceful night. You are safe. You are cradled. You are drifting into the deep, restorative dark. As we continue our slow drift through the deep, quiet expanse above our home, looking back at the earth, we see more than just the swirling clouds and the glowing aura of the atmosphere. We see a scattered, silent tapestry of human creation. There are thousands of objects currently circling our planet, satellites, probes, and fragments of our journey into the stars. You might imagine this as a busy, crowded place, a chaotic web of metal and signals. But the reality is far more serene. Space is so unfathomably vast, and the orbits of these objects are so precise, so steady, and so patient that they rarely ever meet. They drift in their own separate paths, silent companions to the Earth. They are our ambassadors in the dark, watching over the world with unblinking eyes, listening to the quiet whispers of the planet, and gently relaying them back to us. These satellites, the ones that guide our travels, track the weather, and bridge the distances between us, move with a grace that is hypnotic to observe. They do not fly like airplanes, struggling against the resistance of the air. They do not soar like birds, beating wings against the wind. They glide. They are in a state of eternal, undisturbed freefall. They have found the perfect, balanced speed, where the pull of gravity is perfectly met by the velocity of their path. They are held in a gentle, invisible cradle, rocking back and forth around the world, completely weightless. It is a beautiful thought. We have placed our own creations into the quietest, most peaceful environment in existence, and in return, they have become part of the stillness. When a satellite eventually reaches the end of its life, when its batteries fade, or its instruments finally go to sleep, we do not simply let it fall. We don't let it burn up in the atmosphere unless it is intended to. Instead, we perform a final, gentle maneuver. We boost these aging, tired travelers into what is known as the graveyard orbit. The graveyard orbit is a higher, distant region of space, an orbital retirement home, if you will. It sits well above the busy, working orbits of our active satellites. Here, in the deep, undisturbed silence of this higher altitude, retired satellites drift away from the rest of the world. They are given a place of rest, far removed from the interference of active operations. Imagine these silent, metallic travelers, their systems powered down, their work long finished. They drift there, in the dark, bathed in the same starlight that has shone for billions of years. They are not lonely. They are in a state of perfect, infinite patience. They are suspended in the velvet black, circling the earth for centuries, perhaps millennia, never rushing, never changing, just drifting in the profound, cool silence of the cosmos. It is a place where nothing ever happens, and yet everything is at peace. There is something deeply, profoundly relaxing about the concept of the graveyard orbit. It reminds us that there is a place for rest after the work is done. It suggests that even the things we build, the tools we use, and the journeys we take eventually find their way to a state of stillness. As we drift here, passing by these silent, orbiting ghosts, we are reminded of our own need for such a space. We spend our days working, moving, thinking, and striving. But within us, there is a graveyard orbit of our own, a quiet, inner sanctuary where we can place our worries, our finished tasks, and our lingering regrets. We can set them aside, letting them drift into the stillness of our own deep mind, where they no longer demand our attention. You don't have to carry the weight of yesterday. You don't have to hold on to the tension of your achievements or your failures. You can place them in that quiet orbit. Let them drift away, slowly, gracefully, into the dark. Your mind is vast. It is spacious. There is plenty of room for all your thoughts to exist, provided they are in their right place. And right now, the only thing that needs to occupy your mind is the sensation of drifting. Let your breath be slow, rhythmic, and light. Imagine your own thoughts as a constellation of satellites, each one orbiting in its own path. See them moving slowly, steadily, around the center of your consciousness. They are not clashing, they are not causing friction. They are just glowing, steady lights, moving with the patient rhythm of your own natural peace. Feel the relief of letting go. With every exhale, imagine boosting a worry, a task, or a stressful memory into a higher, quieter orbit. Let it go. Watch it move away from the center, becoming smaller, fainter, and more peaceful until it becomes a quiet, harmless point of light in the distance. You are becoming lighter. You are becoming still. The silence of space is wrapping around you, a cool, refreshing balm for the mind. There is no urgency here. There is no need to be anywhere else. You are simply existing in this perfectly, beautifully silent place. Everything you have done today, everything you have felt, it is all part of the past now. It is in orbit. It is being taken care of. You are free to simply be. Feel your limbs sinking further into the comfort of your space. The tension is gone. The noise is silenced. There is only the gentle, rhythmic hum of the universe and the soft, steady beat of your own resting heart. Just rest. Let the constellations of your mind drift in the peace of the dark. As we drift further, leaving behind the Earth, the magnetosphere, and the quiet, graveyard orbits of our own making, we find ourselves entering a realm of such profound vastness that our human perspective begins to shift. We are no longer looking at the Earth as a separate object. We are now looking at the entire solar system as a single, glowing cradle, floating in the dark, silent waters of the galaxy. Imagine, if you will, that our sun is not merely a star, but a giant, warm heart, constantly beating, constantly breathing. With every pulse, it exhales a vast, invisible stream of solar wind, a gentle current of charged particles that flows outward, filling the space around us. It is a protective, warm bubble that wraps around all the planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and all the giants beyond. This bubble is called the heliosphere. For billions of miles, this solar breath dominates the space. It pushes back the cold, dark, and mysterious winds that blow between the stars. It carves out a sanctuary, a quiet, sheltered space where our solar system can exist in peace, protected from the harsh, energetic radiation of the deep galaxy. But every breath must eventually meet the air. High above, far beyond the orbit of Pluto, the solar wind finally slows down. It loses its energy, its pressure, and its strength. It meets the interstellar medium, the thin, cold, and eternal breath of the galaxy itself. This meeting point is the heliopause. The heliopause is the true edge of our solar system. It is the boundary where the sun's influence ends and the deep, silent expanse of the Milky Way begins. Imagine it as the surface of a bubble submerged in a vast, dark pond. The bubble is the sun's domain, shimmering with the warmth of our star. The pond is the rest of the galaxy, vast, dark, and incredibly still. The heliopause is that delicate, trembling skin where the two worlds touch. It is a place of absolute, profound quiet. Out there, the pressure of the solar wind is so low, so faint, that it barely nudges the interstellar atoms. It is a whisper meeting a breeze. It is a slow, gradual fading of one thing into another. There is no wall. There is no sudden impact. There is only a seamless, beautiful transition from the home of our solar system to the wild of the cosmos. Humanity has sent only a few brave travelers to cross this boundary. The Voyager probes, launched decades ago, are currently drifting through this region, silent, metallic pilgrims in the dark. They have left the warmth of the sun far behind. They are now moving through the interstellar medium, bathed in the faint, ancient starlight of the galaxy. They are the most isolated objects ever created by human hands. They are completely alone, floating in a sea of nothingness. Yet they are part of the greatest journey our species has ever undertaken. They are moving with a slow, hypnotic persistence, guided by the original, gentle push of our rockets, and now, by the eternal, quiet pull of the galaxy's gravity. They don't feel cold. They don't feel lonely. They simply are. They are perfect examples of the stillness we are trying to find. They are doing exactly what they were built to do, without struggle, without effort, without noise. When you think about the heliopause, think about it as the ultimate boundary. It is the end of the known and the beginning of the infinite. It represents the limit of what we call home and the start of the great, silent unknown. And yet, there is no fear in this boundary. There is only peace. To cross the heliopause is to leave behind the last tether of the sun. It is to let go of the familiar, to stop relying on the warmth we have known for our entire existence, and to trust in the silence of the galaxy. It is the cosmic equivalent of letting go of your final hold on the day's worries. You have navigated the complexities of your life, the orbits of your responsibilities, and the atmosphere of your daily experiences. You have drifted through the magnetic fields of your emotions and settled into the quiet orbit of your own resting mind. And now, you are ready to cross that final, gentle threshold. You are ready to let go of the day. You are ready to enter the infinite. As you lie here, feel your mind expanding. Imagine yourself drifting past the outer planets, past the Kuiper Belt, past the gentle, slow-moving edge of the sun's influence. Imagine yourself floating into the interstellar void. It is dark here, but it is not a scary dark. It is a warm, embracing dark. It is the darkness of a deep, restful sleep. The silence is absolute. It is the silence that exists between the stars. It is a silence so profound that it washes away the very concept of sound, of words, of thinking. You are becoming one with this space. You are as still as the interstellar medium. You are as patient as the Voyager probes, drifting, drifting, drifting into the deep, dark, and beautiful sleep. There is nothing left to hold on to. The sun is just a memory. The earth is a distant, pale blue dot. The only thing that exists is the quiet, the cool, and the peace. Your breathing is almost imperceptible now. It is as slow and rhythmic as the turning of the galaxy. Inhale the stillness of the void. Exhale the last traces of your physical existence. You are free. You are weightless. You are at rest. The heliopause is behind you. The infinite is before you. And here, in the center, you are perfectly, completely calm. Let the darkness carry you. Let the silence hold you. Drift, drift, drift into the final, peaceful silence.